So I've played around 30 hours of Dying Light 2, I've beaten the main story, and guys, I just can't stop playing this game. It's not like a 10 out of 10, it's not just an absolutely perfect game with no flaws, and a lot of people out there, especially Dying Light fans, have been talking about the fact that certain features are not in this game and they can't enjoy this one as much, and I totally get that, but this game is just hooking me in a way that I absolutely did not expect it to. It probably does help that I've only played Dying Light once, and I haven't done all the side content. I haven't even played the following, so there's a lot of stuff that I just don't really have the context to, and I don't have the ability to compare. But just for like a fresh player, for someone jumping into Dying Light 2 with a little bit of context, it just feels like this game is firing on all cylinders. One thing that just keeps blowing my mind is this world. I think this is one of the most impressive open worlds that I've seen that's very urban, you know, just like set in a city in a long time. In fact, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed Unity. That's a game that gets a lot of crap for being buggy. It did back in the day, and it's better now, but it still has bugs. But it was this world where you could enter so many buildings, and these were like lavish, very intricately designed and beautiful places. That's what Dying Light 2 feels like. It feels like every single building I look at has some kind of entrance that I can go into, or some kind of dark hollow, some forsaken store where I can keep going. It's almost like a dungeon. And even though if you play this game enough, you begin to learn the layouts, and it's like, okay, I've seen this before, it's still so impressive that this stuff is built out in this open world environment, right? Where you're not opening a door and it's loading a level. Like, no, this whole thing is available in the open world. You just have to find it, and that's crazy to me. It's also really, really, really pretty, and that's something that I think the first game proved. Whatever engine Techland is using to make the Dying Light series, it's really good, because the first game still looks really good. But this one, man, with like the God rays on my 3080, it just looks amazing. With DLSS, this game runs really well as well on my PC. And one of the best things this game does, which I just love when an open world game does, is give you interesting navigation. And obviously the parkour is really cool. There's some things, again, that didn't return from Dying Light 1, but I can't say that really like ruins my experience. But it's amazing to grapple hook and then paraglide. The paraglider is so cool. It almost transforms the world within a single game. You know, usually you've got a game has cool navigation, and then the sequel is where it really bumps up. Well, this game unlocks the paraglider, and it completely blows the doors open on how you even think about the world. So basically, the first half of the game, I wasn't even worrying about doing things like jumping off and paragliding. I was always looking for a zip line or a way to, navigate with parkour. Now I'm jumping off of the tallest building in the game and gliding down and finding these air vents that keep boosting me up. It is just so fun. I can't say that many games make navigation even fun after 30 hours, but yeah, Dying Light 2 is definitely on that short list. Another thing that I'm really appreciating now that I've beaten the main story is the fact that you can keep playing this game and finding fun things to do. I've got 30 hours, but this game is just like chock full of content. There's so many side quests that aren't just like one-offs that take 2 seconds, fetch quests. You actually go through a story, talk to multiple people, make choices, and get a unique outcome based on what you're choosing. So the result is this world where there's a variety of different things outside of just talking to people doing side quests. You've got parkour challenges, you've got different night challenges that you can only do after you've slept and after it's dangerous out. That's another thing that I think really works to this game's favor, is the night and day mechanic. It's awesome to be able to actually do things at night instead of just run away. And it does have a drawback. Night is not as dangerous feeling as it was in the first game. I definitely feel that, and so there's an element of that missing. However, if you want that feeling, just go into a hospital during the day. Just go into any place where you're not supposed to be, and that will terrify you. But yeah, after beating the game, I definitely expected this to kind of slow down, but no, the progression continues. You continue to get higher level drops. So it's not one of those games where you beat it and you're like, oh great, I should have done side quests while I was doing the main story. That progression continues. And so that was really, a pleasant surprise for me. And of course, there's so many containers with inhibitors out there to level up your character. You're constantly getting in combat against whether it's humans or zombies. You're always getting a new weapon that you can place modifiers in. There is one bottleneck that has been bothering me with the progression in this game, and that's two things: scraps and the infected trophies. These are things that are required to modify weapons and also upgrade things like your medicine and your lockpicks and other consumables. It really forces you to go out during the night and almost like farm for items. And I don't mean like grind in a way that's annoying or frustrating, but it does force you to go and seek out those activities which will reward you with materials that allow you to upgrade everything. Some people like when a game does that, some people don't. I tend to lean towards, liking it, forcing me to go out and experience all of the different types of content that a game has. But the more I play, the more I discover, especially in the world. There are certain zones that the game doesn't send you to. I think maybe briefly for a mission or two, but then you come back, and if you didn't explore that zone, then there's just a lot more to discover. For example, in the footage you guys are seeing, there's a side quest where I have to solve a murder, basically. Someone's been accused of murdering a bunch of guys, so I have to venture out into this area that I've never been to before, and lo and behold, I found a safe zone with some NPCs that I've never talked to before that have their own sort of backstory, and then bam, there's a new side quest there that I can grab, and then that'll show me more of the area. Now, I will say I was definitely underwhelmed by the main story. I won't spoil anything in this video. It's a little melodramatic, and you can tell that this game was in development for a while because there's a lot of writing, and I'm afraid sometimes it's a little too verbose and, again, melodramatic. There are just things that don't feel like they need to be said, and oh, this is a plot line that I don't really care about. And of course, that's gonna work for some people and not for others. And I'd say similar to the first game, it's really the side content that's the main star. And unfortunately, that's a lot of open world games, right? You play the main quest in Fallout 3 to purify the water. That is easily the most boring part of Fallout 3. There's so many more other interesting things to do. Same with Fallout New Vegas, find Benny, figure out who killed you, that whole thing. And the way these games get around it is by having all this other content interesting, making the world itself compelling. The whole day-night cycle thing, the progression with your skills and how everything you do actually feeds into the skills that you're earning. Picking up new weapons and modifying them. Yeah, that's another thing. I thought that I would get really annoyed with the crafting and the fact that I couldn't fully repair my weapon. So I was always having these cool weapons break. But the fact is there's progression. So as I get a cool new weapon, I'm still leveling up. Then that weapon is either going to break or it's going to become obsolete. I'm going to get an upgrade for it where it's not as good as the thing that I just got. The other thing that I think a lot of people are talking about in the community is bugs. And I feel like I've had a very unique experience. It's annoying to hear, I'm sure, if you're running into bugs, but at 30 hours, I've seen maybe 5 bugs. I actually caught one in this footage. You can see this guy standing inside of Hakan, one of the main characters in the game. That was weird. I also saw a T-posing guy in the middle of a metro station. Didn't capture that one, but yeah, I just haven't seen bugs, and that is something that would totally annoy me if I saw them, but the fact that I haven't, it just doesn't affect my experience. Difficulty is one more aspect of this experience that I think could be a lot better. I think they could tune it, because at one point on hard, everything just became very easy. Pretty much the game right now is not challenging, and again, I played the whole thing on hard, so I've kind of over-leveled the game in a way. So it does feel, again, like a Fallout experience where, oh my god, I'm so overpowered to the point where I'm rolling over everyone and everything. But the funny thing is, the combat is fun and interesting enough to where it doesn't really matter to me. I've run into a group of renegades harassing someone in a random encounter, and I'm like, yeah, I'll help that person. I'm still parrying and jumping over people and punching the guy behind them, and I'm still trying to find ways to do these brutal, takedown assassinations from above. And that experience extends to other parts of the game. with parkour. I'm still like trying to figure out how to climb water towers and activate windmills. So this game just has a great quality of kind of pushing back on you and always providing something that's either interesting or challenging, regardless of the difficulty that you're playing on. One of the things that I'm still kind of like working on is the Night Runner challenges. These are the parkour trials where you're timed and you have to navigate the city, and once you get to the part of the game where there's a paraglider, that completely changes the challenges. So you're able to go back and like get golds on stuff that was much harder before. I think the main question for me at this point is this going to keep staying fun as I carve through more of this content? Because Techland has said there's over 500 hours of content in this game. And I think where the bulk of that time comes from is going back through the main story and making different decisions. And I'm not sure that I'm the type of gamer that will go back through and make different choices, maybe like down the line before Dying Light 3 or something. But who knows? Maybe I'm just so hooked on this thing that I'll continue to replay the story. As of now, just playing through the content that's in place, yeah, I am like wanting to continue to play this well after I've beaten the main story. And that is a feeling, a sensation that I only get personally when I know that I really like a game. If I roll the credits and jump right back in, I'm like, damn, this game has made a really good impression on me. The other thing is the post-launch content, and we know that the first game has a really good reputation of adding new stuff, new modes, all kinds of things. I mean, I can't pretend to be an expert on it because I didn't experience that post-launch. I haven't played any of the extra content in Dying Light 1, so I really don't even know. But I do know that it has a great reputation from what I've heard, but also because this cracked Steam's like top 5 or top 10 most played games concurrently of all time. So that kind of tells you that, yeah, a lot of people are on board with what Dying Light 2 is, and we'll see if, you know, Techland can deliver again and give us an interesting post-launch content calendar to play through. But yeah, guys, I just wanted to hop on the mic and share some thoughts because I'm having a very unique experience with this open world game. I play a lot of open world games. That's the primary kind of game that we talk about here on the channel. And this one has sort of struck a unique chord with me that makes me see it as very special and also a lot better than the critic reviews. I'm just confused about why this game scored so low. It could be the bugs, and I totally understand that as a reason, but it just kind of feels like a lot of people played through only the main story and didn't go through the side content and kind of experience the whole, you know, of this product, of this game. But anyways, I totally respect other people's opinions, and if they didn't like it, that's fine. But man, I am just enjoying the hell out of this game and wanted to share that with you guys. That is it for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit the like button. Also subscribe if you haven't already. Click that bell to turn on notifications so you don't miss my next one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.